Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Tracie, who is a dual certified family and psychiatric nurse practitioner that practices out of Virginia. Currently, she is working part-time at a primary care office and also on the weekends at an outpatient detox center. She recently started a part-time psych clinic about 6 months ago that is not doing very well, secondary to the poor performance of a past employee. She recently hired a new employee and is hoping this will turn the tides. She is needing assistance with marketing and growing her practice to the point where she can do it on a full-time basis. Hey, Tracie, how are you?
I'm well. I hope you are.
I'm doing good. Thanks for hopping on this call. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So let's get into it. So tell us about your experience as a nurse practitioner. So I see you're dual certified family and psych. So kind of just give me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I started out as a family nurse practitioner in 2010. I chose that because I didn't want to limit myself. My background career as an RN is in the ER, but I've always gravitated towards psych. So as a family nurse practitioner working in the FQHC, due to their rules and regulations, they require you to be certified in psych in order to practice in psych. So I returned back to school and got a postmaster's certificate, and I have been in psychiatry since 2015.
Oh, okay. So you've been doing this for a little while, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you recently started this practice about 6 months ago or so. So you were working full time and now you've kind of dropped part time, but it sounds like you also work on the weekends. So you're a pretty busy girl, yeah?
Yeah, and I want to be able to be in my practice full time and kind of choose to work on the weekends and not have to work on the weekends, because that's where I am right now.
Yeah, just to choose to work there to make a little side income kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, right before the call, you just briefly mentioned to me that your clinic is not doing as well as it should be from, I guess, someone who kind of botched the billing process up for you. Tell me a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, so I was introduced to this person that has opened practices before. We have a mutual friend, and she did great for the beginning. Things were rolling right along, and then she accepted another position and said that she was going to be willing to train the person that was coming on board to take over the billing, and she would see the credentialing out. And then once she was hired at her new job, she just dropped and wouldn't answer phone calls. She wouldn't give me access to her email, which is actually my email because it's a part of my practice, so that I could watch the emails from the insurance companies. And as I continued to see patients here, we were getting rejections from the insurance companies that I was not a network provider. And so after talking with the insurance companies, she did not see the credentialing through. So it has kind of kept about $35,000 in limbo that I've not been able to get because I had to restart the credentialing process.
Oh, geez. What a nightmare. Wow. So you did all this work and put your sweat and blood into this, and then it just kind of fizzled out just due to one person.
Yeah, because I bought the place that I'm at, I bought it. So I have a mortgage here. So with purchasing property, you have down payments. So I've put in about $76,000 into this practice. And so it's a lot of money tied up in this practice because I had a vision for it, to
Right.
also have, ketamine and, weight loss here in the clinic. And so I've not been able to do that, focus on that because this billing situation has kind of got me by the throat.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay. So you got this beautiful office. You've invested almost $80,000 into this, and you are just basically in limbo at this point.
Yes.
Okay. So you hired another credentialer, another biller who's going through the process of everything right now?
Yes.
And what's the ETA on when you are going to be ready to start billing and rocking and rolling again?
So most of them, the insurance companies that are problematic, I have to wait 60 days. And so I am in jeopardy of losing the money that's waiting.
Oh,
So
man.
I have gotten some bills back from February because that's when this started that they will not pay because they said it's beyond the time limit.
So basically, you're going to just write that off.
Yes.
That sucks. I mean,
Big time.
that sucks. Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, did you learn any lessons from this? Because I mean, starting a business, I don't know any business owner who has started a business that went off 100% as planned without any issues. So what lessons have you learned from this?
Yeah, so since that, because when I did the original emails, I just did, like a Gmail. When I had my website revamped, the website creator kind of changed the email so it's more, like T Hampton at Gaps Hill. So I have control over the emails.
Right. So it's an actual domain name email for your
Yes.
practice website. Yeah, that looks so much more professional too. It really is the way to go.
Yes, and vetting the people that I hire better. One, word of mouth. I need to talk to the practices that she supposedly opened to see what their working relationship with her was like, or them, or he, or whomever that's in the future.
Right. So maybe just doing a little bit more due diligence then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super important. Biggest lesson here from what you're telling me is that never give all the power to one person. And when it comes to controlling, the money flow of your business,
Absolutely.
that's insurance, cash, whatever it may be, you never give 100% of that ability to anyone. That's just don't do it. So I'm sure you won't ever let that happen again. I'm sure.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And even the new person, she's like, you need to let me do my job. And I'm like, I got that, but you also have to understand I'm going to be a part of this process.
Correct, as you should. With credentialing and whatnot, if you use a third party company, they should do a pretty good job and you really shouldn't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Because that's how they get paid, right? So for those listening, you can definitely do the credentialing yourself, hire someone in-house to do it for you and do the billing and stuff. But if you go with a third party company, chances of this happening, should be minimal, but it could still happen though. I mean, that's just part of it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got this new person on board. They're going through the process and everything. You are part of this process to make sure it actually goes through and works. When are you thinking that you're actually going to be able to start billing and doing all this?
There are some insurance companies that the credentialing process is done and they're keeping me afloat right now. And the ones that were left in limbo, so this is June. So mid-August, they said that the process should be done. So 60 days. They will not expedite. So I'm waiting and twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, insurance companies aren't in any rush. Okay, so in theory then by July, August, because this is recorded in June, so by July, August, you should be ready to go 100%.
Yes.
So then what are your plans? What are you thinking here?
Like I had told you before, I really want to be here full time. So I have just recently finished your weight loss course, and I think that may give me another avenue here to be here full time because my other jobs keep me afloat at home as far as like bills and things at home because I cannot jeopardize that.
Sure.
So that's my plan. I'm just trying to get structures in place as far as like pricing, and TaylorMade is no longer taking new clients for Semaglutide. So I'm trying to find, access to that and use other things as well. So that's where I am right now. And I'm hoping to be able to put in my notice at my part-time week job to be here full time by August 1.
So a few things here. First off, what kind of income is this clinic bringing you right now?
As far as my private practice?
The one you own, correct?
So that's a little bit up and down because you have these spurts of insurance dropping, right?
Right.
So on average, I bring in about $4,500 a month.
Okay. That's what you're bringing in. I'm sure that's probably just covering expenses at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And your full-time job or rather your part-time job that you do during the week, how much are you making there a year approximately?
So I just went part time when I started here in January. So previously I was making 156 a year. And so now I work there 2 days a week and I get paid about 72, 75, $72.75 an hour. And I'm there for 20 hours. So
Okay.
monthly I bring home about $4,000.
After taxes.
Yes.
So you're living off that.
Plus my weekend jobs.
How much are you bringing in there?
So
Approximately,
about the same.
about the same. So you're bringing in $8,000 post-tax a month.
Hmm.
Okay. So then you're going to need to get your practice up to the point where it is bringing in probably, you said your expenses, at the practice right now are like $4,000 or $5,000 a month or so,
Yes, including payroll.
including payroll, right? So you need to bring in then, $12,000, $13,000 a month, at a minimum through your practice for you to part ways with your jobs. But I'm not including taxes in that figure though. So,
Hmm.
if you want to include taxes in that figure, for you to bring home $8,000 a month in profit, like income for you to live off of, then you probably need to get closer up to, $17,000, $18,000 a month is what you need to get to before
Hmm.
that happens.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know if jumping the gun August 1st is a good idea unless you have a significant amount of savings.
Yeah, it's there, but I want to use that if I absolutely have to.
Right,
So
exactly right.
if I need to, push back August 1, then that's what it'll be.
All right. Well, just be careful there. Make sure that you have at least a minimum amount coming in for you to cover your living expenses before you part ways. I just hate for you to increase the anxiety in your life unnecessarily, if you can
Right.
prevent it. Yeah.
Right.
So just kind of keep that in thought. About $17,000, $18,000 a month is probably about what you're going to need to bring in. So you're going to be credentialed with all this, for psych and all that kind of stuff. So once you're fully credentialed, what kind of numbers are you thinking you'll be able to generate a month just from insurance billings for the psych portion?
As far as money or patient.
Money a month. Like once you're fully credentialed and all that, like what would you estimate?
Once I'm fully credentialed and I'm here every day, I think 20
Well,
would be easy
yeah. Oh,
because of
for
how the
sure.
days are structured.
Well, with the patient volume you have now, though, let's say August comes around, though, and you're
Hmm.
fully credentialed and whatnot. With about the volume you have now, maybe a little bit more, what would you estimate a month?
Well, even that right now, I'm only here 3 days a week.
Right. Well, are you
And
fully booked
so,
those 3 days?
yes, I have no openings at all.
So,
My new
okay.
patients
So,
are 45 minutes and my follow ups are 15 minutes. And I had to change that from an hour new patient and 20 minutes follow up so I could fit more patients in.
all right. So the demand's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
In this
perfect.
area, I'm one of 3 psychiatric providers.
Okay. All right. So this is pretty fail safe, it sounds like.
Oh, sure. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. No, that's what I like to hear. Okay. So then you're going to continue to grow the psych practice. Then, once you're fully credentialed, you should have enough income coming in that, yeah, I think that probably that August 1st date would probably be realistic then. I mean, if you have the volume.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking
yeah.
at my
Yeah.
schedule right now. I don't have any new patient appointments until July 28th.
Oh, wow. So you're booking out 6 weeks.
Hmm.
Wow, fantastic. Then, yeah, I mean, you're in a really, really good position here. Okay, so then you said weight loss. So you're going to start doing the weight loss portion of your practice out of this practice as well. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you said the semaglutide with the compounding pharmacies and whatnot, tailor made for some reason. I don't know why they're not accepting new clients right now. You can look at like South Lake Pharmacy is pretty good. So is Compounding Pharmacy of America. Those are two pretty good pharmacies that you could probably get the semaglutide through.
Okay.
So, in terms of how you're going to set up the subscription program or whatever, remember the key here is that, you always want to mark up this stuff by 2 to 4 times your cost,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
just whatever the compounding pharmacies will, what they're going to bill you for that medication, then you would just, mark it up 2 to 4 times. I would mark it up 2 times if you're just going to sell the medication itself. and charge separately for visits or bill insurance for visits. If you're going to create more of a subscription monthly program where they pay you monthly, that includes the visits as well, then I'd probably mark it up more like closer to the 3 to 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's what I would do in terms of that goes. And then, of course, you'll do some other things too, I'm sure, like maybe a little phentermine and maybe some peptides, some injections and stuff. Just remember that 2 to 4 times markup is typically what you need to make it really worth your while.
And so in that subscription type model, do you see them generally once a week?
For weight loss, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd probably only see them every 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Every 2 weeks for the first month or two to make sure that they're, getting used to their diet and exercise program and, tolerating the medication and doing some weigh-ins and stuff. But then once they start getting, into the routine of it and whatnot, I think every month's probably fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And it depends on what kind of service you're offering too. Like, for example, some of these people might just be on long-term maintenance therapy of, semaglutide or bupropion, naltrexone. They might just be on maintenance therapy. At that point, every 3 months is probably all you really need to do.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll figure this out. You'll learn it once you start getting in the groove of it. You know what I mean? Like you'll figure out kind of what works and what doesn't for you.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's typically what I do though.
Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna do the weight loss there on top of the psych. So are you planning on doing the weight loss as 100% cash only, or you want to do this more of like from an integrative point with insurance and cash?
So insurance in this area, we're probably about 87, 89% Medicaid. So they have their restrictions on things of what you can do and cannot do mixing in psych. The only way I'm able to ever really get reimbursed for obesity is if I couple it with their psych stuff and say that their obesity is, causing their depression, right?
Well, I mean,
Or
come on,
if,
it is.
yes, and or their antipsychotics are causing them to gain more weight, but they're
Right.
still very limited on what they're willing to pay for as far as medications. And so if Medicaid is 87, 89% of the population, that means finances are not the greatest. But there is a pocket of people here that are more well-to-do that can
Affluent.
afford different types of medications and
Sure.
options for weight loss. So I'm looking for like that pocket of people and still offer it to my patients that, of course, have Medicaid and need services or options for weight loss and not cause them, any type of mania or anything like that because of their diagnosis,
Right.
like phentermine, Vyvanse, that kind of thing.
Sure. So you'll do a little bit of weight loss for your psych patients, but then also do it strictly for weight loss only as
Yes.
well. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're at in this country. I don't care what anyone says. There's always people who are going to pay cash for stuff. Always.
Yeah.
There's business owners, there's professionals, there's, upper middle class individuals. These people exist everywhere in this country. So I think you'll be just fine being cash only for a part of that. I don't see an issue with that. Yeah. Even if your area is 85% Medicaid, so is mine. My cash practice is killing it,
Okay.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. Now, with you being credentialed with insurance, technically, if it's a covered service, then you're supposed to bill insurance, right?
Right.
And so it could get a little murky, could get a little bit gray, with some of your patients who, where the insurance might actually pay for the visit, the semaglutide, the phentermine, these sorts of things. And so keep in mind that if you're operating out of the same entity, then, you might need to try to bill the insurance first to get the hang of, what's covered and what's not. But the problem is everyone's insurance is going to be a little bit different on what's covered and what's not, depending on what ICD code you use and that sort of thing, right?
Right.
So a way around this would be to just form a separate entity. So just form another LLC, name it whatever you want, weight loss, have it out of the same practice, separate everything, separate bank accounts and all that. I mean, you can use the same EMR and stuff. I don't see a problem with that. All right. But like separate bank account, separate payment processor, separate everything. All right. So it's a completely separate entity that is not credentialed with insurance, because you're not going to have a group NPI number for that. Like it's not credentialed. It's not a credentialed entity. Right. So if you operate the weight loss arm of your practice, then you can just charge cash for it if you operate out of a separate entity. And then you don't have to worry about it.
That makes sense.
So that's what a lot of places do for that. There's actually an article on the Elite MP website. You can look up, you go to all articles, click the search function and type in insurance. You'll see the article there. It's how to take cash payments if you're credentialed with insurance. I mean, there's always ways around these things. So that's what you would need to do. So if I was you, I'd have like a separate sign even on the outside and have a separate name for the weight loss. Okay. So it looks like there's two practices. You have your psych practice, then you have whatever weight loss and wellness, or whatever you want to call it, and have that be cash only. Yeah. And then that way you're not, getting in trouble with your insurance contracts and that sort of stuff. You shouldn't, though. I mean, hell, you're saving them money at the end of the day. They go after people who are committing fraud, not people who are saving them money. So
yeah, absolutely. Because they surely, especially with managed Medicaid, they don't want to cover anything.
They don't want to pay for stuff anyways. Exactly. And, in most states, you can bill Medicaid patients cash, through a separate entity. It starts getting murky with Medicare. If you're credentialed with Medicare, regardless of the entity, you're supposed to bill Medicare for the services if it's covered.
Right.
But with Medicaid in most states, that doesn't apply. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if that applies in Virginia or not. I would imagine probably not.
I'll have to look at the contracts and see.
Yeah. And you can just always call state Medicaid and just ask them.
Yeah, they're not very helpful. Even in this credentialing process, it's kind of go to the website. And I'm like, that's why I'm calling, because I need to talk to someone.
That's the government. They have no one to answer to. They don't have to justify anything to anyone. They're not accountable for anything. They don't care.
Yes, reading a phone tree.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a job for them. They're state employees. They just want to get their pension and be done when they're 65 years old. That's all they want. They can live that life. They can keep it. All right. So, Wally, do you have any questions in terms of anything else? I know you said you wanted to talk maybe a little bit about marketing.
Yeah, so Facebook has not been my friend. And I'm saying that because I'm not very techie. And so I've already kind of paid out more than I wanted to for my website, which it looks great. And even adding things to that website, like with the weight loss stuff, or creating another website for it is just costly, because I'm trying to keep everything practice related coming out of my practice account and not pulling money from home to cover things. So what do you think about in terms of like IG and doing TikTok and those other kind of social media things? Is that less restrictive with, Facebook and weight loss and projecting ads and things like that?
Yeah, TikTok is for sure. YouTube can be too. Instagram's going to follow the majority of the same policies that Facebook does, but I've noticed that Instagram seems to be a little bit better.
Okay.
I don't think the algorithms for the Instagram advertising platform, I don't think it's as advanced as the Facebook's. I've just noticed that I've had a lot more ads approved on Instagram that are denied on Facebook. I'm like, it's the exact same ad. This doesn't make any sense. It's the same company.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think it comes down to images mostly, because a lot of these, whenever you send out an ad on social media or Google, very rarely does an actual human look at it. Okay. It's generally just a bot or an algorithm looking for red flag keywords and whatnot. And so if you hide the message in the image, then the algorithm typically doesn't pick it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So instead of in your ad copy, actually in the ad, do you have 20 pounds to lose? New weight loss clinic open, or whatever it may be. If you put that up there, the ad's going to be denied because you're pointing to all the Care Bears saying that they need to lose weight, and that's going to hurt everyone's feelings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So then your ad will be denied. Okay.
Okay.
But if you put those same words in the image, then oftentimes the ad will be approved.
Okay. I'll try it.
Right. Just a little strategy there that a lot of people use.
Okay. And how much would you say, like, as far as Facebook ads, would you allot a month? What's reasonable?
I think starting off between $500 to $1,000 a month should actually deliver you some real results.
Okay.
The problem is that a lot of nurse practitioners are super, super cheap with marketing. And, they email me wondering why their ads aren't generating any conversions. I'm like, because you're spending $5 a day. That's not going to turn into anything. Like, it generally costs me $50 to $100 per conversion. You know what I mean? Like, so it'll cost me, for example, $100 of ad spend for every new men's health patient. So I have to spend $100 advertising before I get one.
Okay.
You have to go into this look at it realistically. While that sounds like a lot of money, it's really not, because, I might spend $100 or even $150 for a new men's health patient, but that men's health patient will be with me for a while.
Right.
And so health patient, I generate, close to probably $1,600 to $1,800 a year on. So that $100 is nothing. It's a good investment.
Absolutely.
Tell me another investment where you can put, $100 into it and get 10, 15x out of it. Good luck.
Right.
It's a good investment. Right.
Absolutely. So how would you suggest to handle the patient that I may see in my psychiatric practice, but I send them to my wellness side, quote unquote, and they're like, I have insurance. Why can't I use my insurance for this? Well,
then it gets kind of tricky, right? Because now you're taking insurance, you're doing Medicaid, Medicare. That's where you're going to start getting these anti-kickback and Stark Law stuff.
Right.
You're not supposed to refer patients that are being, who have Medicaid, Medicare to something else that you own where you have a stake in it. You're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
So for those cases, I wouldn't refer them to that. I would go ahead and try to bill the insurance for it. And if it denies it, be like, the only way you're going to be able to get paid for this is if you pay cash for it.
Okay.
So I think in those instances, you should try to bill for it. I know it sounds like a pain in the ass. It's probably going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to have pre-authorizations and denials. But to be safe, though, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Now, your credentialer, if they're experienced, if you have an experienced insurance billing person or credentialer, they should be able to help guide you through that. They should understand that, has been my experience when I've talked to these people.
Okay.
Or even a quick consult with a healthcare attorney might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I think he's sick of me right now.
Right. But I think that, like, if you just do what I told you, I think you'd be okay. And as long as it's not covered, then you can bill them for cash. But if you just automatically send them over to your cash practice without even trying, then it could raise some eyebrows potentially.
Okay.
Well, why didn't you try billing them? Because it might have been approved, might have been a covered thing.
Okay. So I could very well prescribe them semaglutide, see if it's covered or whatnot. And if it is, great. And then bonus them with B12 and just charge like for the process of B12 under like a therapeutic injection, like the CPT code.
Correct. The B12 is not going to be covered, right? I mean, the only medical necessity for B12 is an actual B12 deficiency.
Right.
These lipo injections.
Process.
Correct. Well, I mean, they could pay for the injection as well, but if they audit you or something, they're like, what were you administering? Oh, well, yeah, we're not going to pay for that. That's not covered med.
Gotcha. Well, that's true.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, some products aren't going to be covered. Automatically, they're not going to be. Lipo injections, peptides, those kinds of things, those aren't going to be covered. They're just not, right? B12 for a vitamin B12 deficient individual, it's not going to be covered. Like, you automatically know it's not going to be covered. So don't even try to bill for it. Just charge the patient cash for that.
Okay.
Right. But like semaglutide or Contrave or, the phentermine, those kinds of things, insurance can pay for those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they cover well. Well, Medicaid does, private insurance doesn't.
Yeah. Well, okay. So just, keep in mind a lot of this. It's going to just kind of complicate things. But like people who have private insurance and that kind of stuff right from the get-go, I would be like, sorry, we don't take insurance for this. It's cash only.
Okay.
Because your practice that's credentialed is for psych, not for general weight loss.
No.
Right. So you have a separate phone number for that practice.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just have two different phone apps on everyone's cell phone or whatever. One rings a different tone for the psych practice and one rings separately for the weight loss.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't advertise your psych practice. Sounds like there's no need to. Sounds like you got enough patients anyways. So I wouldn't even bother advertising that unless you bring on another provider and you want to just increase volume significantly.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, exactly. You're not there yet. You will be in a year or two. I guarantee it. Now the
I
weight
think
loss
so.
though, that's more of a novelty, right? That's a niche service. It's a, more of a pleasure, more of something that people pay cash for. So that you'll definitely want to advertise. But if you don't have a whole lot of competition for weight loss in your area and you have a separate Google business listing that says, whatever weight loss clinic, you're probably going to come up number one anyways, and people will just call you.
Yeah. And that's what has been happening because I have a few, they just kind of call, hey, can I come? And I see them on Saturdays when I'm not working somewhere else.
Well, there you go. So the weight loss owner of your practice. So I'd have a separate Google business listing, separate website and all that. I know it's an increased cost for the website, but this website doesn't need to be that fancy. I mean, it shouldn't cost more than $1,500 to $2,000 to get a decent little weight loss website set up.
Yeah, I did my first one through Wix, which was okay, but I just didn't like it. But, for a weight loss program, Wix would be fine.
Right. A very simple weight loss program website. Exactly. Like if you have a basic understanding of it, then just create just a little separate website, 3 or 4 pages, doesn't have to be anything crazy, and just put weight loss all over it and kind of do your own little SEO by putting a lot of keywords in there. They should pop up, tie it to your Google business listing, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep it cheap.
You make it sound so easy.
It is easy. It's really not that hard. Like you just gotta one thing at a time, right? Just one thing at a time. Knock it out and then move on to the next thing. Knock it out, move on to the next thing. Too many nurse practitioners get this overload and paralysis, this analysis paralysis. They're doing all kinds of things all at the same time, and you can't do that. It's going to drive you nuts.
Yeah, and it slowly is because of this financial situation that I'm in my practice. I'm just I feel like I'm grasping for straws.
Yeah, well, I'd say you are. I mean, you're bleeding money.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling. I've been there.
Yeah,
you're working for free. It sucks.
I truly am.
Yeah, you're working for free, but that's part of it. That's part of starting a business. I listened to a podcast today, and it was this guy who started this tech company. Mm-hmm. And he worked for like 4 years on this tech company. He was paying his engineers, his IT specialists, $100,000 a year, from the income that was coming in. And he was paying himself like $20,000 or $30,000 a year just to live off of. He's talking about he was eating ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And like his employees are making more money than he is. But guess what, though? After 4 or 5 years, he sold that business for like $5 million. He's done.
Whoa.
Right. That's the thing about being a business owner. You have to sacrifice, Like I remember with my men's health clinic at first, my medical assistant was making more than me because I wasn't paying myself.
I'm not able to pay myself right now. That's why I have all the other jobs.
Right, exactly. Right. You're making the sacrifice now so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor in the next year or two. That's part of being a business owner.
Yeah.
Any other questions about marketing or anything?
No. That was very helpful.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're right on track. I don't see how this could fail. I mean, pretty much guaranteed money printer you got right here.
I hope so. I think I just got like a little discouraged because of what happened financially and was like, I have to do something, but maybe I just need to be patient and wait the process and, focus on my plan that I had.
Exactly. Only focus on what you have control over right now. You don't have control over the insurance right now. It's just up in the air. It's just a waiting game. So focus on what you can focus on right now. Hell, get this weight loss thing up and running. Get it going.
Yeah, I will say, one positive thing where I work part-time, I have, good relationships there, and they wanted to do a Spravato clinic, but they don't have space, and I do. So they want to refer those patients here for ketamine. So that's a good boost in patients as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's mostly going to be cash too.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I mean, you have multiple service lines here. Like you're going to have $1 million practice in a few years.
I hope so. I'm gonna hold you to it.
I really do. I really think you will. I really do. I think you'll have $1 million practice in a few years if you do it right.
Well, I'm gonna try and hold my head to the ground and stay focused.
There you go. That's exactly what you need to do. Well, I like to end the episodes with you asking me a question. You have a question for me? Anything you've ever been curious about?
Yeah. What's next? You have all of these courses. You're just the man with the plan.
So with Elite NP, we just got credentialed with, for CEU. Yeah. So all the courses now are going to be able to offer, official CEU, which I'm super excited about. Cause I've just had so many people request that for the past 2 years. And now it's an actual reality. So now people can actually, use the information in these courses, not only to, help free themselves, but actually, apply some CEU to their certifications and whatnot. Right.
Right.
Right. And so my goal is, I have two goals in mind. I'm going to kind of finish up the niche clinic line of courses. We have a few more coming out. And so I kind of want to finish that course line out and then begin the process of essentially creating version 2s of them, all updated information and that kind of stuff. And basically just start from scratch from the very first course I started and create version 2s of the rest of them over a year or two,
Wow.
rinse and repeat every couple years. You know what I mean? But I'm also, I'm wanting to develop a clinical course line. So like more of like a continued education course line, not necessarily business focused, but more like clinical education. So like one course on like cardiology, one course on diabetes, one course on orthopedics, and so forth and so forth. You know what I mean? So that way it's like little CEU, you learn some new clinical skills and that kind of thing. So
Oh, that'll be awesome.
yeah. So those are kind of my two plans right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're
Yeah.
knocking out the park. You've done great on everything else. I've taken 2 of your courses so far, and it's been a wealth of information.
Good. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed them. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
Nope, we're good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I hope this was helpful, and keep me up to date if you ever want to do a follow-up podcast.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Tracie. She is absolutely killing it. I mean, she's already got a practice that's booking out 6 weeks in advance, but she just had a few hiccups. I mean, that's part of starting a business, folks. I mean, you're going to have some hiccups expected. I think the big thing you need to take away from this podcast is that, you should never give the power of your finances, of your income generation to one other person. If she would have gotten someone in there from the very beginning and she was part of this process, she would be making so much more money right now. I mean, she has $35,000 in limbo that she'll never get back again. $35,000. That's what a lot of people make in a year. And it was all because of one person's carelessness, right? So never give the power of your business, of your finances to one other person. Do not. It's the exact same thing I say about your finances. Be redundant. Have a backup plan for a backup plan. You need to be part of the process of insurance credentialing. If you go down that route, you need to be a part of the process of your bookkeeping, of your finances, and that sort of stuff as a business owner. All right. It's critically important for your success. All right. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Just take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcast. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.